Good morning, this is CATEX TV. Today is Thursday, August 23rd, 2012. My name is Frank Fortunato. In Taiwan, authorities have evacuated more than 3,000 people already as powerful Typhoon Tembin is approaching the island. It's threatening to dump torrential rains over a meter perhaps, 36 plus inches, and would possibly unleash deadly landslides. Mindful of a devastating typhoon that in 2009 took 700 lives, the Taiwanese military is in action and has equipped soldiers with rubber boats and amphibious vehicles to be on alert to help out. The storm right now is about 132 miles off the coast. It's got wind speeds of about 100 miles per hour already. The danger with the storm is that it's very slow moving, so once it gets over Taiwan, it is going to take a long time to pass it, drenching the island. Meanwhile, near the United States and in the Caribbean now, Tropical Storm Isaac is set to become a hurricane later today. It's taking dead aim on the island of Hispaniola, which is shared by the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Storm tracks currently indicate that it's likely to come into the Caribbean, pick up strength with warm water there, and then come up the Florida coast, possibly skirting Tampa, where the Republican convention is going to be. Right now, the storm's about 255 miles south-southeast of San Juan, Puerto Rico. It only has maximum sustained winds right now of about 45 miles per hour. But once it passes Puerto Rico into the warm water, it is expected to strengthen. A disturbing story from Kenya, coming from a farming area about 180 miles away from the capital of Nairobi. 48 people have been killed in clashes over grazing land rights. According to a police chief in the area, people were burnt in their homes, hacked to death, or shot with arrows. Attackers were armed with crude weapons, machetes, bows and arrows, and spears. As a result, we have lost 31 women, 11 children, 6 men, and 60 cattle. The clashes are part of an ongoing difficulty between two communities who have clashed before over the use of land and water resources, but this scale is unprecedented. Two similar losses within the past 12 months, costing insurers over $500 million, are prompting underwriters to reassess their exposure to the Russian satellite communications company. Two satellites on board a launch on August 6th were left in a lower orbit than planned when the engine on a Proton rocket cut off after only 7 seconds of a burn instead of 18 seconds. Low orbits mean that the orbits disintegrate more quickly and the satellite is rendered useless. The failure to get an Indonesian satellite and a Russian satellite that was on board that rocket is likely to cost insurers more than $240 million. Marsh was the broker for that. That combines with a earlier loss this year of about $270 million when another Russian satellite was lost, when a Proton rocket also failed to burn the whole way through. That slip was brokered by Willis. Next launch is scheduled for August 23rd. That's been delayed now until they find out what happened. The Russian satellite company will already be facing increased costs when it comes to buying insurance in the market now. However, one underwriter said that unless the underwriting community is convinced that the organization has conducted a thorough review and understands what's gone wrong, the company will face even higher premiums. A fight is brewing between the National Football League and insurers over who's going to pay to defend the league against former players' lawsuits over head injuries. Some traveler insurance company subsidiaries filed a lawsuit on Tuesday in New York. Alterra American Insurance Company filed its own lawsuit there last week. Meanwhile, the league has sued a list of insurers last week in Los Angeles. The NFL is trying to determine which insurance policies are going to end up covering some 2,400 head injury claims that have come into the NFL in case a settlement is reached. They've brought the case before a judge and they asked the judge to sort it out. Some of the insurance policies go back to the 1960s. The United States is experiencing, one of its worst ever outbreaks of West Nile virus, a mosquito-borne infection. The rate of infections had jumped about 60% from just last week. Now over 1,100 cases and 41 deaths have been cited in the U.S. More than half the cases this year are in Texas, although it's been discovered in 47 states. The Food and Drug Administration has identified a southern Indiana farm called Chamberlain Farms of Owensville as the source for cantaloupes that perhaps contain the deadly salmonella virus. Some 178 people have been infected, and 2 have died, 62 have been hospitalized. The National Resource Defense Council, sort of a well-regarded group, came out with a study yesterday saying that 40% of food in the United States is never eaten, amounting to $165 billion a year in waste. It takes a toll on the country's water resources and significantly increases gas emissions. The group says more than 20 pounds of food is wasted each month for each of 311 Americans, amounting to as much as $2,200 a month in waste for a family of 4. Think of it, they say, as dumping 80 quarter-pound hamburger patties in the garbage each month. Food is simply too good to waste, the report says. Given all the resources demanded for food production, it's critical to make sure that the least amount possible is needlessly wasted. Most of the waste comes from home. Families in the U.S. throw out about 25% of their food. One of the reasons they cite is that food has been so cheap and plentiful in the U.S. that Americans don't value it properly. Strange how things work. Now with the drought, the price of food is going to go up. I don't think people will be throwing as much out. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.